The dense forest stood still, bathed in the golden light of the setting sun. Birds chirped softly, and a gentle breeze rustled the leaves. Among the towering trees, a young fawn named Lila frolicked beside her mother, leaping over fallen branches and playfully nudging her siblings. The world felt safe. Then, a distant rumble. The earth trembled beneath her tiny hooves. A loud crack split the air. A tree, massive and ancient, groaned as it fell. The herd scattered in all directions. Lila bolted, her heart hammering. She dodged past shrubs, leaped over logs, and ran blindly through the thick undergrowth. When she finally stopped, gasping for air, silence surrounded her. Her mother was nowhere in sight. The familiar scents of her home were gone, replaced by the sharp tang of damp moss and unfamiliar trees. She was lost. Fear gripped her. She called out in soft bleats, but no answer came. Night crept in, shadows stretching long and eerie. The forest, once welcoming, now loomed like an unknown abyss. Miles away, in a small wooden cabin at the edge of the forest, Ethan, a wildlife photographer, sat reviewing the pictures he had taken that day. His passion was capturing the untamed beauty of nature. Just as he reached for his cup of coffee, a faint cry echoed through the trees. He frowned, setting his camera aside. The cry came again, weak and pleading. A lost animal, a fawn perhaps. He grabbed his flashlight and jacket before stepping outside, scanning the darkness ahead. "Poor thing," he muttered, following the sound. Lila trembled as the wind howled, sending leaves spiraling around her. Her legs ached, and hunger gnawed at her stomach. She curled up beneath a fallen tree, her small body shivering. A sudden rustle made her ears perk up. Footsteps, heavy, deliberate. Not like her mother's, or the gentle rustling of other deer. Something was coming. A pair of glowing eyes appeared in the darkness. A predator. Lila scrambled to her feet, her pulse quickening. The creature, a wolf, stepped closer, its breath visible in the cold night air. It growled, low and menacing. She backed away, her legs wobbly with exhaustion. The wolf lunged. A sudden beam of light cut through the darkness. The wolf froze. A loud, commanding voice rang out. "Hey, get away." "Ethan!" He waved his flashlight, stepping forward. The wolf hesitated, then growled, before retreating into the shadows. Lila remained frozen, staring at the tall figure before her. Ethan knelt, his voice soft now. "It's okay, little one. You're safe." Ethan carefully approached Lila, his movements slow and non-threatening. He knew gaining the trust of a wild animal took patience. The fawn's eyes were wide with fear, but she didn't run. "You're far from home, aren't you?" he murmured. She took a hesitant step back, ears flicking. He noticed her thin frame. She hadn't eaten in hours. He unzipped his bag, pulling out a granola bar. "Not your usual meal, but it's something." He crumbled a small piece, placing it on the ground. Lila sniffed the air, but remained cautious. Hours passed. Ethan sat patiently, watching the fawn from a distance. Eventually, exhaustion overtook her. She curled up again, eyes fluttering shut. Ethan knew he couldn't leave her alone. But how could he get her back to her hurt? Morning broke, golden rays piercing through the dense canopy. Lila stirred, stretching her tired legs. She looked up to see Ethan, still nearby, keeping watch. He stood, stretching his arms. "All right, little one, let's get you home." He reached for his radio. "Hey, Mark, this is Ethan. I found a lost fawn near the eastern ridge. Can we get some help?" The response crackled through. "That area's tough to navigate. Roads are blocked from the storm. You'll have to bring her to a clearing if you want aerial support." Ethan's jaw tightened. Aerial support. That meant one thing: a helicopter rescue. He looked at Lila. The journey ahead wouldn't be easy, but he had no choice. The hike was slow and treacherous. Ethan carried Lila at times when the terrain became too rough for her small legs. He navigated through thick brush, over fallen logs, and across rocky paths. Every step counted. As they neared the clearing, the faint sound of helicopter blades chopping through the air grew louder. The rescue team was arriving. Lila's ears flicked at the unfamiliar noise. She trembled slightly. Ethan stroked her head gently. "It's okay. They're here to help." The helicopter hovered overhead, its powerful winds bending the grass. A rescuer descended, carrying a soft harness. Ethan helped secure Lila, making sure she was safe. As the harness lifted her off the ground, Lila's wide eyes locked onto Ethan's. For a moment, he feared she would panic, but then she relaxed, as if she understood. Ethan watched as she was carried to safety, his heart swelling with relief. The forest had taken her away, but now she was on her way home. Days later, Ethan received a call. "Ethan, you won't believe it. We found the herd." The mother recognized her instantly. "She's safe." A smile broke across his face. He glanced at the camera on his desk, flipping through the pictures from that night. The lost fawn, the desperate journey, the moment of rescue. Some stories weren't just meant to be captured. Some were meant to be lived.